On the morning of August 1st, 2012, a trader at one of the biggest firms on Wall Street watched his own computers start spending money, and he couldn't make them stop. Not millions a day, millions a minute. The machines were firing off trades nobody had ordered, 4 million of them in 45 minutes. By the time anyone managed to rip the system offline, $440 million were gone, and a company that had opened that morning as the largest stock trader in America was finished. There was no hacker, no crash, no crime. Just one small mistake, sleeping quietly where no one thought to look. This is the story of the most expensive mistakes ever made. Not reckless bets, not greed, accidents, a misplaced comma, a wrong unit, a single keystroke, each one small enough to miss completely. Each spacecraft, or cripple a company before lunch, all the way up to $100 billion that existed for exactly 37 minutes. Money that was never real. And by the end, you'll see the unsettling thing all of them have in common. Tiniest mistake a person can make. A single comma. In 1872, the United States Congress rewrote its list of goods that could be brought into the country tax-free. On that list were fruit plants, the young seedlings farmers imported to grow their crops. But as the story is usually told, when the law was set in type, a comma slipped in where a hyphen should have been. Fruit plants became fruit plants. 2 words, 1 curl of ink. And suddenly the law no longer exempted fruit plants. It exempted fruit and plants separately. Customs officers, reading it exactly as written, had to wave through every orange, lemon, and banana arriving in America, tax-free. Importers spotted it long before Congress did. They flooded the ports with cheap tropical fruit and demanded their money back on what they'd already paid. By the time the comma was fixed, 2 years later, the Treasury had refunded around $2 million, close to $40 million in today's money, over a mark the width of a fingernail. Later, a single missing comma in a Maine labor law won a dairy's truck drivers a $5 million overtime settlement, because a federal court read the law exactly as it was written. But a comma, at least, is something you can see. The next mistake was invisible. It wasn't in the words at all. It was buried inside the math. World. In December 1998, NASA launched the Mars Climate Orbiter, a $327 million mission, a spacecraft built to circle Mars and study its weather. For 169 million kilometers, dead on course. Or so the numbers said. Then, fired its engine to slip into orbit, passed behind the planet, and was never heard from again. When small to believe. The company that built the craft wrote its thruster data in American units, pounds of force. The NASA team steering it read those same numbers as metric, newtons. Nobody converted between them. The 2 figures were off by a factor of about 4.5. So for 9 months, every gentle nudge the spacecraft made was quietly mistranslated. A tiny error, repeated all the way to Mars. Sphere instead of settling into orbit above it, and tore apart. $300 million, lost not to a malfunction, but to a unit of measurement nobody wrote down. And every number each one used was perfectly correct, inside the system it was thinking in. Which brings us back to that trading floor in 2012, and the company bleeding $400 million by the minute. It was called Knight Capital. In the week before, its engineers had rolled out a software update to the firm's trading servers. There were 8 of them. The update reached 7. The eighth still carried a scrap of code from 2003, an old, retired function nicknamed PowerPeg, switched off and forgotten for nearly a decade. The new update flipped a single setting that, by accident, woke PowerPeg back up on that one server. So when the market opened, 7 servers behaved. The eighth began buying high and selling low, again and again, over 1,000 times a second, doing exactly what that dead 2003 code had been written to do in a test years earlier. And then, with millions vanishing every minute, Knight's engineers scrambled to stop it, guessed wrong, and pulled the new code off the 7 healthy servers. Now all 8 were broken. 4 million trades, 45 minutes, $440 million, more than the firm had earned in the entire previous year. It never recovered. Within a year, a company that had handled around 1/10 of all the stock trading in the United States was gone, swallowed by a rival. 1 server out of 8, one forgotten switch. Now stop and look at what we've gathered: a comma, a unit, a single line of sleeping code. And notice what every one of these has in common. None of them began with greed. None began with sabotage or stupidity. They began with a normal person doing normal work, and a tiny, ordinary slip of the kind every human being makes a dozen times a day. Almost all of history, one person's mistake stayed small. You could only spill so much, sign away so much, lose so much, by hand. But entire countries possess. We didn't make people clumsier. We made the price of being human almost unimaginable. And nowhere did that price get stranger than in Seoul, in the spring of 2018, when the line between real money and imaginary money disappeared for exactly 37 minutes. Samsung Securities was trying to do something kind. It was paying a dividend to its own staff, about 2,000 employees who held shares in the company. The plan was simple. For every share an employee owned, pay them 1,000 Korean won, roughly $1 a share. But whoever entered it confused 2 boxes. Instead of paying 1,000 won per share, the system handed out 1,000 shares per share. In a single instant, Samsung Securities created 2.8 billion brand new shares of itself, out of absolutely nothing. On paper, those phantom shares were worth 112 trillion won, around $105 billion, more than 30 times the entire real value of the company, sitting, suddenly, in ordinary employee accounts. And here's the part that should stop you cold. The company caught the error in 37 minutes. But 37 minutes was enough. Before anyone could freeze it, 16 employees looked at the fortune that had just appeared in their accounts, millions of dollars each, in shares that should never have existed, and they clicked sell. Real shares, into the real market. Stock that had been conjured by accident half an hour before. Samsung Securities' own stock dropped 11% in a day. Regulators later reported more than 20 employees to prosecutors. And for 37 minutes, $100 billion that was never real had moved through the financial system as if it were. A comma, a unit, a switch, a keystroke. Not one of these people set out to steal or to break anything. They were ordinary people, doing ordinary jobs, inside systems too vast for any single human to feel the edges of. That's the quiet lesson buried in the most expensive mistakes ever made. The danger was never really the human hand. It's that we keep building a world where the smallest possible slip, one comma, one unit, one wrong key, can cost more than a nation is worth. And then we hand that world to people, because there is no one else to hand it to. So the next time your banking app freezes or you catch yourself about to type 10 too many, stop for just a second. Somewhere, someone exactly like you already did. And it took the system 37 minutes to notice. What's the most expensive mistake you've ever made? And did the zeros show you any mercy? Tell me below.